Manhattan DA is continuing its investigation of Donald Trump's role into hush money payments to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Daniels met with prosecutors in the DA's office while key witness Michael Cohen testified before the grand jury for the second time this week. So joining us now for his first on TV or in-person interview since those testimonies, Donald Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, also the author of the book Revenge, How Donald Trump Weaponized the U.S. Department of Justice Against His Critics. And he's also the host of the Mea Culpa podcast and Political Breakdown. So, Political Breakdown podcast. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you waking up early to see us and to do it in person. Your other interviews have been just on the phone, correct?
No, my other interviews with the district attorney.
No, I mean on television, for television.
Yes,
so this is your first time. Okay, so thank you. Listen, it has been 21 or 22 times.
So I met with the DA's office 20 times for interviews and then 2 times for grand jury.
Why are you cooperating so fully?
Because that was the pledge that I made when I stood before Judge William H. Pauley and I said that I will cooperate. And I didn't need a 5K1 agreement. I wasn't part of any cooperation agreement. Democracy is more important than anything. And I know it sounds hokey, but my goal is to ensure that truth comes out and that truth to power is told.
As far as on the list of witnesses, do you know where you are? Are you the last one or towards the end?
I would presume that I am. I know from reading the same reports that you have, whether it's the Times or Wall Street Journal, that there have been, 7 or 8 witnesses that have come in and spoken before the grand jury. I'm not aware that. That's the one thing about this district attorney's office. They're really quiet about everything. You don't get any information about anything other than what pertains to you.
So let me ask you about the questions. And I know that you want to protect the investigation. You want to respect what Alvin Bragg and his office is doing here.
And why ask me the question?
I just want to see what you can. What did prosecutors ask you? What can you tell us about that?
I really can't talk about any of the topic. Obviously, you know that one of them deals with the hush money payments. But I will tell you that one of the things I think that will come out of this investigation, other than the potential indictment of Donald Trump, is a lot of information about how the Southern District of New York dealt with me in my specific case. Now, what's difficult for me to do is always to talk about my own case, because people will say, oh, well, you're partisan to your own case and you're trying to make a point. That's why, like Lanny Davis, my attorney, he's been with this with me in this journey since day number 1. Mm-hmm. And he has so much information about the weaponization of the Justice Department against me that there's nobody else that knows the story better.
Okay, so you can't really, won't talk about the specific questions. Can you take us inside then and talk about the process of the grand jury? Who is interviewing you? What is it like? Are they each asking you questions? So
there's a lead prosecutor in the district attorney's office who handled the questioning. It was like it was being on trial. You're sitting in the front, there are 23 grand jurors. And at the end of the prosecutor's questioning, then the grand jurors get an opportunity to ask you their own specific questions.
Did each of the 23 grand jurors?
I can't say that each and every one, but for the most part, yeah.
So so then what types of questions? I know this specifically. What types of questions?
Again, those questions all relate to the topics.
Okay.
And it's really so much better if Lanny Davis was sitting here, and that way he can sit and talk to you about these sort of issues. For me, I really do want to respect the process for 2 reasons. One, because that was a pledge that I made to them. But more importantly, if I do get called as a witness at the trial, I don't want anything that I say now to impede upon that ability.
I understand that. You're an attorney, so you know how this works. So let me ask you then, if you met with them 20 times and then for the grand jury twice, so they have met with other witnesses, including Kellyanne Conway, Hope Hicks, both of whom were
David
close.
Pecker, Dylan Howard. There was also Jeff McConney, Deborah Tarasoff.
Okay, so 2 questions here. As you go back to after they have spoken to these other witnesses, does that inform them as to what they ask you the next time?
I don't know how they run their process.
They're not asking you the same questions over and over.
No, of course not.
You understand?
Yes, I sure do. So again, to respect their process, what I can tell you is that their questioning of me started out at like 35,000 feet.
Okay.
And by the time that I hit the 20th interview, we were down to like 3 feet ready to land. The grand jury was the actual takeoff back to, we'll call it accountabilityville.
So the grand jury questions are different than the questions that they initially asked you?
They're on the same points, but they're not exactly the same.
Okay. Stormy Daniels testified in front of the grand jury, at least met with the grand jury yesterday through
I don't know
through
that
Zoom.
to be
You don't know
factual.
that to be true.
No.
But what do you think? What do you think of Stormy Daniels being brought into the process? Because that's a surprise to people. Does that change this investigation? Does that show you that it's ratcheting up, that an indictment is imminent?
It certainly doesn't benefit Donald for Stormy Daniels to be talking about it. So if that helps the district attorney's case to go forward, so be it. I do know, and I'm prepared to tell you, they have a tremendous amount of information. Now, a lot of people have attacked my credibility. Truth be told, right? At the end of the day, they can attack me all they want. This case is not going to be predicated on any one individual, but rather it's going to be predicated on the documents, the evidence, the text messages, the emails.
All right. So because Donald Trump's attorney, Joe Tacopina, is also attacking your credibility, if we can play that real quick.
Before you do that, can I just see this 1 second?
I know you're talking about the interview that he did on another
Joe,
network.
that's how you end up asking somebody for a document.
Let's play it real quick.
Alan Bragg once said, and I hope he remembers these words, he can't see a world in which he would base a prosecution of Donald Trump on the word of a convicted perjurer and felon like Michael Cohen. He's still a convicted perjurer. He's someone who was convicted of lying. And it's not about vengeance. It's all about vengeance for him.
I know that you're very sensitive and you take umbrage to that. And you were also recreating something that he did in an interview on another network, trying to take some.
Yeah, I was just trying to poke fun at him, which is just so easy.
What do you think of what he said?
Well, I think he's a fool. And worse than that, what's going to happen, and again, I've been by Trump's side so long, I could tell you the playbook onto it. Donald sent him out in order to lie, in order to continue with a narrative that only Donald wanted. He's failed in that. And so soon, he'll get cut off, just like so many others when Rudy messed up, or Alina Habba messed up, or Corcoran, or Eastman, or any of the other ones. And he will just send them, he'll just send them on their way. And Tacopina will be just one of many.
Who else can corroborate what Michael Cohen is saying, or what Michael Cohen?
Clearly everyone. You see, it's easy to turn around and to say, oh, Michael Cohen's a convicted liar. That happens to be true. I did. I pled guilty to 1001 violation. I accepted that. But what you need to do, and so many pundits do this, and it's wrong, you need to finish the sentence. Yes, I was convicted. I pled guilty to 1001 violation. But I did it at the direction of and for the benefit of Donald J. Trump.
But you pled guilty to other stuff outside of Donald Trump.
Hold on 1 second. That's true. But we're talking about the what Tacopina wants to call the perjury charge. What I lied about was the number of times that I spoke to Donald Trump about a failed real estate project in Moscow, Trump Tower, Moscow. I stated to Congress the number of times was 3. In fact, the number of times was 10. If you think, or anybody thinks, that that's going to stop me from being a credible witness, considering everything that I've told Mueller, 7 different congressional committees, the Attorney General, the District Attorney, and so many others, has always been proven to be truthful and accurate, well, so be it.
You can still have a point of view and an opinion about this and without giving anything up. Having spoken and met with them so many times, do you believe that an indictment is imminent?
I do.
Okay. And when do you think it could happen? Sooner rather than later?
Let's all hope it's sooner rather than later, because everyone needs to be held accountable. Yeah. Everyone needs to be held to the same standard of the law, and that includes former presidents.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael.
Good to see you, Don.
Appreciate it. Come back, please, if
Anytime.
Something does happen. Donald Trump does deny that those hush money payments, of course, he has denied it all along, and any affairs as well.